Hello, it's just Medic121 here again with another episode of Animaniaugust. Today we'll be talking about the final week of October 1993, eh, which has only 3 episodes. The second to final week only has 3 episodes of it. So let's talk about all the segments within those 3 episodes. You've heard of Yakko's World. Now get ready for Yakko's World of Baldness. It's a song all about being bald. It is definitely very hilarious. With that they decided to make a song about being bald. Because even by this point, it seems like they are thinking of everything they could possibly think of to make a song about. Opportunity Knocks. This is one of the most iconic episodes of Peaky the Brain. And this is the one where they steal gold from Fort Knox. This one is definitely, one of the most iconic ones, and is in the and a clip of it plays in the show of the intro proper. We then cut to another good idea, bad idea. Good idea, stopping to smell the roses. Bad idea, stopping to feel the roses. Wings Take Heart, the first of a select few animated segments that don't feature any reoccurring characters, although the Waters do make a brief cameo. These star original characters, and they seem like a parody of some of Disney's silly symphonies, or even some of Warner Bros.' early Merry Melodies before they decided to make older shorts, largely about reoccurring characters. This one is definitely an interesting concept, although it is definitely forgettable. Then we cut to a Wheel of Morality, and this one's motto is, of course, the lesson of this wheel is, of course, if you don't have anything nice to say, you're probably at the Ice Capades. The next episode begins with a segment where Yakko is a storyteller who smokes a bubble pipe. And then, of course, cuts to Godzilla destroying Yakko Warner's library. Of course, honestly, when Godzilla's colored in this bright a shade of green, I just think of Reptar more than Godzilla, because Godzilla being green reminds me of Reptar from Rugrats. Hercule Yakko. This segment is about the Hip Hippos. And yeah, you know how I don't usually really like those characters, but the Hip Hippos are in a part of a mystery. The girl one, I forget her name, it doesn't really matter, lost her diamond, and it's up to Yakko, Wacko, and Dot to find it. And well, let me get the elephant out of the room. This episode is absolutely famous for what's considered to be the most shocking thing the show has gotten away with. The fingerprints joke. If you've seen this episode, you know what I'm talking about. But the rest of the episode is actually pretty good too. Like, I really do this probably has to be my favorite episode of the Hip Hippos, solely for the fact that it hardly even focuses on them. They're basically just a plot device. Home on Denial. This is another Rita and Run segment, and this time they travel to Palm Springs in search of a wealthy man they called Sonny Bono, since he likes strays. Funny thing about the name Sonny Bono is that the name Sonny Bono would later have a part in terms of, after breaking up with Cher, he'd become absolutely famous for in terms of the cartoon world, for basically signing the 1998 Mickey Mouse Copyright Extension Act, which extended Steamboat Willie's copyright by over 20 years. But, of course, that's not important. What is important, they end up in ancient Egypt, and in a Left Toying at Albuquerque style scenario, and really, But the twist is that they still think they're in Palm Springs. They think this is Palm Springs, even if with all the Egyptian uh, cliches. And of course, as per usual for many of the segments featuring the supporting cast, the literal running gag of A Midsummer Night's Dream. It's another Midsummer Night's Dream parody with stuff like Wacko being obsessed with a pixie, and even a cameo of Batman and Robin. And this was also the first time that the series would adapt one of Shakespeare's works, as later episode as a few of the later episodes would adapt Hamlet and Macbeth respectively. As you can see in this title card, William Shakespeare is not credited, with the Animaniacs alteration being provided by Deanna Oliver, who is a writer most well known for voicing the titular toaster from the films of The Brave Little Toaster, which is interesting. Honestly, this is a pretty good adaptation of Midsummer Night's Dream, but honestly, that's kind of been cliched in cartoons a lot, so I don't really have any, there's not really, it doesn't really have any unique twists you couldn't really find in other parodies, but it's interesting, it's fine. This next episode, episode 26, the final episode we're going to review on this episode of Animaniaugust, has 3 testimonials in it. The first testimonial is of Silkman telling about their beginnings in vaudeville, which then cuts to the Warner's first all-musical sound cartoon. Babblin' Baijo. Babblin' Baijo is their in-universe first ever musical sound cartoon. And it is in black and white, fitting with their black and white origins. Ironically, which set to the tune You Ought to See My Gal by Willem Crowley and his orchestra featuring Jelly Ray Morton. However, the problem was that when they sent it to TMS and they got it back, TMS, despite being considered the best of the overseas studios, couldn't really get the timing right in comparison to the original recording. So, the Warner Bros. Orchestra had to compose their own iteration of that tune for this specific short film, which I find pretty neat. Overall, this is basically just it's basically just a typical, stereotypical 1930s cartoon. It's just basically exactly it's exactly the definition of what baby boomers think cartoons in the 30s were. It basically has every 1930s cartoon cliche in the book. I mean, the politically correct cliches that is, but I mean, everything talks, everything moves, those types of cliches. But all in all, it is definitely interesting to see an in-universe short film. After another testimonial, we get to Potty Emergency. This is a segment where Wacko Water runs around trying to find a bathroom. Despite how childish the plot is, this is actually really well done. And just there's a lot of funny visual gags in here. It's pretty good, actually. After one more final testimonial, we get to Sir Yaxalot, a medieval parody cartoon where King Arthur's kingdom is under attack by a dragon. And there's definitely a lot of funny gags, like the editor repeating the words "the dragon" over and over like it's a broken record, Merlin being a character Doug Henning, and the surprise appearance of, spoiler alert, Pinky in the Brain. All in all, it's a pretty good segment. Thanks for watching this episode.